Listen, look, I'm mad I even gotta say this. Why are we acting like this is not Don't get your fucking coat like
There's nothing wrong with hate. You've got to hate some things with a passion. And destruction, they must dislike and hate with a passion.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl ZZ back with another video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on my notifications bell, get us join a thumbs up, share this, all that. Okay. So today's video, we are reacting to two different videos. Both videos are including some black men speaking. Some saying some egregious things. But I want to get into it because I just found both of these videos very interesting. Now, the first one we have Zaya Wade, aka Zaya Wade. If you don't know, this is Dwayne Wayne's son. He's a basketball player, famous basketball player. I'm sure you've heard of him, but this is his son who transitioned into a girl. He identifies as a trans girl. And he changed his name to Zaya Wade. This actually has been going on for a few years. I've been on this. One of my first videos was reacting to this. Egregious. If you were OG, then you know. But yeah, so they're sitting down having this conversation. I think this is on some sort of podcast. There's a couple other black men up here. And yeah, he is talking about his relationship with his father and the candid conversations that they have. And I just thought, yeah, some of the things they were saying was a little interesting. So let's get into it.
That a part of us learning about the trans experiences is also me just getting more comfortable with you and talking to you about things. Because, I mean, okay, Chicago, African-American man, we talk about a lot of stuff. not to stereotype, but not often do you have a full-blown conversation with a black man. So it's hard. And there's a bit of almost like a cultural barrier sometimes to talk to black people about that kind of stuff, especially queer stuff. Man, they do not be liking us.
Okay, I already got an issue. They do not be liking us. Like, you're not one of them. You're not one of us. I'm confused. Or you're confused, clearly. But even besides that, I hate that narrative. I really dislike that narrative that black Americans get, that, oh, we just are so homophobic and we don't like gay people and we don't. And it's like, that's not the truth. Okay, the truth is, for most black Americans, they don't like the lifestyle. They don't like the fact that you're going against what most consider unnatural. You're going against what the natural order of things are. You know, a lot of black Americans grew up as Christians. Some of us grew up as Muslims. Generally, you know, we are taught that man, woman, child. Okay, that is the order of the order of godliness that we need to live by. That's the natural order of things. Even just by going by life, you know, even other species have man, woman, child. You know, it's not really too many species that are like asexual or, you know, mating with the same type of, you know, genders, quote unquote, or male and male and female and female. So yeah, many of us believe that is the natural way of doing things. And so we just don't agree with that lifestyle. We don't agree with that. That is rightfully so. You know, we have the right to feel that way. Okay, whether it's for a religious purpose, a political purpose, you know, mental or spiritual, whatever the case may be, whatever your reasoning is for that, you have the right to feel that way. That does not mean that we don't accept our, you know, alternative living brothers and sisters, our anti-sexual, as Dr. Nelly Phillip Jr. would put it, brothers and sisters. That doesn't mean that we're not, you know, we don't love them, that we don't, you know, we don't come to the cookouts, we don't have conversations with them, we don't, you know, but there are certain things that we are just not in alignment with, and we're not going to hide that, especially because many of us don't want our children to be influenced by that. So we have to make it clear, we have to make certain boundaries clear that, yeah, you know, that ain't gonna work around here. You can't just be, hey, look, you can dress how you want outside of the home, but in the home, you know, you're gonna look like who you are, who you was born as. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just certain things. A lot of times, even when we have those family members, they might come around like, hey, you can have that. You can have a little boyfriend if you want, a little girlfriend. But when they come around, that's your little friend. That's your friend. That ain't your, you know what I'm saying? We don't need the children knowing about your alternative lifestyle. So it's not necessarily that we won't have conversations. Many of us have, you know, at least one or two people in our family that live this sort of lifestyle, you know, or that are anti-sexual or a part of the LGBT community, however you want to put it. So that's not really the issue. But as far as, again, the ideology, the lifestyle, that's something that we're not generally not for. Okay, so to say that, oh damn, y'all just don't really like this, it's like, okay, you've been hanging around them white liberals. We already know you're indoctrinated clearly, but let's continue.
But no, I think it was hard to break through like my stereotype of you even. You know, I think people think it's like you trying to understand what being trans is like, but it was like me trying to understand what you were like, because I have this image of mainly just men in general, but especially a Black man is like, you know, stuck in their ways, like rigid in those.
Now, that's very telling. Why do you have this image of men in general? Now, we know Gabrielle Union is this real feminist, real liberal type woman. Okay, I've definitely reacted to some of her things as well. And she's with this kind of liberal. Dwayne Wade is liberal, is pretty, you know, out there himself, as you can see on the podcast. I don't know if y'all can see it yet, but you'll be able to. He has his nails painted. He kind of fluid. You know, him and Gabrielle's kind of made some real points about her going 50-50. Like they kind of, I think she even said something about eating the man's, okay, I don't want to say it too egregiously, but eat the man's tossing the salad. I think that's the slang word for it. But yeah, so they definitely put out there that they're kind of alternative living themselves, even though they are man and woman. And so it's like, but that right there is kind of telling. Now, mind you, this is also with that information of us knowing that he had a white babysitter. I think he had a white, I want to say his babysitter, if I'm not mistaken, was gay as well. He had a white male gay babysitter, if I'm not mistaken. So just knowing that he's had some of these influences growing up, it kind of shows like, oh, you know, that might be why you have this skewed image of Black men, and why you yourself see yourself in this skewed way, why you think you can be a woman because you are a Black man. And you're saying this as like, it's like cognitive dissonance. Like, I have this image of, you know, men in general, but specifically Black men. It's like, well, then you realize you're in that group. That means you see yourself in a skewed way. If you see your father like that, moreover, you are a reflection of him. You're his seed, his child. So if you have this skewed image of Black men and men over, and then your father, how do you see yourself? Do you really think that you know, and this is why I can't accept the whole Zaya. I don't even want to address him as Zaya Wade, neither as a girl, because you clearly have unaddressed issues within yourself and internalized, okay, anti-Blackness, misandry within you. You know what I'm saying? That's been internalized within you, and you've kind of, that may be why you've tried to step away from being a man yourself, because your image and your thought process of what a man is egregious, is anti-Black, is misandrous, is, you know, etc., etc. And that's why you're kind of, you think you're a woman. It's egregious.
Those things that they don't want to like move past. And so I think I had to understand that that's just not true, and let you in to understand me. And so when you talk about conversations, like, it reminds me, like, you know, our road trips, like when we just go on like little drives like around town and end up, you know, just talking about super like deep stuff. It's like those moments for me are the best ways that I think I can communicate myself.
When it's someone who you don't know, or you don't love, or you don't care to get to know, you just don't. But when it's someone you love, and someone, you know, you want to be in their lives, you're going to sit down and you're going to find out, like, you're going to actually sit down and find out these things that you don't know. If you don't care about them, you're going to move on. Right. But this is my child. This is, you know, I'm in love with my kids. And so, you know, my job is to sit down, like me and Zaya have always, like, I go and sit across Zaya's bed, you know, and we have a 2 to 4 hour conversation. And that's a lot of times where, you know, we get to talk, and it's just a safe space. Right. We say whatever. I ask whatever, and Zaya laughs because I'm the one who I will ask a question that I will ask that question that you would think that you shouldn't have said that. Well, I don't know. And so I asked whatever, and Zaya has expressed whatever. And so we built that communication, that safe environment amongst each other, that I feel that allowed me to get comfortable with what I did not know.
I think that a part of us,
you know, and I feel like a lot of people have said this as well, that Dwayne is kind of living vicariously through his son, because of the kind of effeminate behavior he's displayed. But even within that, you know, it's like, I can understand wanting to get to know your child, and especially in a predicament like this, wanting to understand the perspective and things of that nature. But again, he said this a while ago. I remember reacting to his speech a while ago. I think it was on like the NAACP award, something like that. He had won some award. And he was like, yeah, your child it's not your job for you to tell your child who they are. They're supposed to basically let them be form themselves, and it's not your job to to force yourselves on. And it's like that way of thinking, that new age parenting, and the way he's talking, like, yeah, we can say whatever we want to each other. There should always be a limit. You can still have a safe space and still have boundaries. You can still have a safe space and still have a level of authority over your child, because there should be, and a level of correction always within that conversation as well, because yes, a child is going to go through trials and tribulations. A child is going to have their own thoughts and opinions and grow. That's how it should be. However, under the guidance of their parent, under the authority of their parent, that is what molds the child into the woman or the man that they are supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Or that they had the potential, the highest potential of being, because you want your child to a degree to be like you. Your child is going to be like you regardless. They got your genetics. So you want to push them to be the highest form of you possible, the highest form of godliness they can attain. And by doing that is by molding and guiding them along the way, trying to correcting some of these mentalities, correcting some of their thoughts and behaviors, some of their speech, even with, I talked about this before. Again, I'm sure y'all have been here already know, but the fact that they allowed him to transition so early should have never happened. I am totally against that. I'm sorry. I know that there are statistics out there that show that some children go through things like this, although statistics also say that after puberty, most of these feelings go away. Okay. But regardless of that, if you're feeling like your little boy is feeling like a girl, feeling like he wants to play with the feminine things, he wants to dress up, he wants to, you allow them to do that, or not even allow them to do that. They are allowed to do that when they're grown. But under your household, there should be a boundary set. There should be a standard set that, look, men are men, women are women. So in this household, regardless of those feelings that you're having, you're going to present as the man that you were born as. You're going to present as the boy that you are. Point blank, period. You can feel how you feel about it. You can be upset about it. And when you get up out of here and you get your own house and create your own rules, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But most of the time, by that time hits, they're not going to even have those sort of feelings anymore anyways, or their mindset on it may change. So the mentality of it may change. So you have to, as a parent, set the standard and create the boundaries. Okay, this new age where parenting is like raising your children as friends, and it's like, no, okay, your children are not your friends. Your children are your children. They came from you. They are of you, and so they need to understand that. A part of understanding that is understanding that authority. So yeah, I understand candid conversations. That's what's up. That they, trying to do better and trying to, I guess, understand each other more to a degree. That's cool. Hey, that's what's up to a degree. However, again, there has to be a standard. There has to be a level of correction. But obviously, Dwayne Wade doesn't feel the need to correct. Okay, he doesn't see anything wrong with it. Hey, to each their own. But yeah, we'll see how this boy evolves, because you do have some people that transition that end up detransitioning, okay? And because he did this so early on, he hasn't had the experience, he hasn't gained the wisdom, he hasn't probably seen or learned the knowledge and effects that come with that lifestyle, that come with doing that. He hasn't experienced his full manhood yet. At some point he may want to double back and try to experience that. So I mean, prayerfully, I hope that does happen. Prayerfully, I actually do hope that happens, that he steps out of this level of confusion that he clearly is in. But we'll see, because his parents is promoting it. So I mean, it's going to be hard for him to be even curious to double back or to step out of that, especially not only from his parents being so supportive of this, but also so much clout and fame that he's gained from this, that now he has media, he has this whole LGBT community, these LGBT children, which there is no such thing as that, but this community of children that they're trying to push out, in support of him and looking up to him, and now there may be a level of pressure that he has to keep on this transitioning road, you know. So we'll see how long this lasts. We don't know, but hopefully he does get to indulge in his manhood at some point. We'll see. Now this next clip, this next clip is actually a brother reacting to this sister right here. I've seen this brother on my timeline a couple times. I want to say he's had some bad takes before, and I don't know if he's FBA. I feel like he might be. I'm sorry. I feel like he might be non-FBA if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm not about to look into all that right now, but this was an interesting video, and it's also giving me tether vibes. This video. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments below, but listen to this.
I don't understand why y'all be so mad when police racially profile. I mean, y'all walk around with y'all pants sagging with hoodies on in the middle of the night.
Right.
If you don't want to be treated like a thug, don't dress like one.
Exactly.
You see how dumb that sounds?
What the fuck are you talking about? That made perfect sense. I live in Florida. When I see these little niggas walk around with ski masks on, hot as shit, I don't even want my skin to be on. It be so hot outside. They got full-blown ski masks, hoodies, pants hanging off their ass. Why your pants hanging off your ass? That's the profile me uniform. Like, no, the profiling is wrong, but y'all, hold on, because here we go, Coon Cannon. You're telling me that a group of niggas dressed in hoodies, pants sagging and shit, walking past you at night, you not tightening up a little bit? You're not crossing the street?
No, I'm not. Let me just when you grow up, and that's why I'm like, I think he may be a tether, because when you grow up with this being normal, when you grow, especially because I got brothers, when you grow up knowing, you know, that this is just certain ways, this is a cultural style. Many brothers sag their pants. This is sagging has been a long time. It's been around for a very long time. And honestly, it's not even as nearly as popular as it used to be. A lot of brothers really aren't doing it, or not. It's not nearly as noticeable as it was before. It's not like niggas got their pants all the way down past their ass. It's like, you know, they sagging is just a little bit below their hips, honestly. For the most part, from what I'm saying, even the young brothers. But if I walk past a group of brothers or a couple brothers with their hoodies on, some young brothers with they sagging, I'm not about to automatically assume they're into something, some sort of trouble, or they're thugs, or they're like, I'm not crossing the street. I do it all the time. Literally, when you live around black people, and this is not even just a hood thing, you have brothers that's in the suburbs who dress like that, to be honest. This is like, it's just it's a cultural way of dressing, even in the summertime, for sure. But even outside of that, if you want to bring it back to a hood perspective, so a lot of these brothers ain't doing that because they trying to sneak up on you. They trying to do that to stay low. It's cameras everywhere. It's police riding by every day. Police love to harass black men, specifically in the hood, who's just they could just be standing outside, and the police will walk up on them. I just reacted to a video like that the other day, and the brothers was cooling. They was over there just eating food, chopping it up, and the police walked over there and found a bag on the floor with some, I think it was some weed in it or something like that, some petty shit in there, petty stuff in there. And the brothers was quiet. Everybody was on code, quiet. Whose bag is this? Y'all know whose bag this is? We ain't got to da-da-da-da. We got to tell us whose bag this is. Nobody said nothing. Okay, these brothers wasn't even doing that. So stuff like that, those sort of interactions happen all the time with brothers in the hood. So it's like, they're not doing that to necessarily all the time. Not to say that doesn't happen sometimes, but for the most part, brothers is not walking around dressed like that just to sneak up on you, to steal something from you in the middle of broad daylight. You're talking about when it's hot outside, which is usually when the sun is out. Okay. At nighttime, they usually can get away with stuff like that. It might be a breeze, might be raining, might be, you know what I'm saying? It gets a little bit cooler. So that type of dressing is really not that big of a deal any damn way. So yeah, no, I'm not crossing the street when a brother walks down the street with his pants, like, that's the white supremacist way of thinking. If you really want to talk about danger, honestly, I feel more threatened if I see a white boy walking up the street with something with his pants a little too big and his damn, you know what I'm saying, he got a hoodie on and he looks a little emo. Like, now I'm thinking, is this nigga a school shooter? Is this motherfucker about to go shoot up a church? Is this nigga about to, I don't know what he's about to do. I don't know what type I might cross the street for that. Honestly, those thoughts might run through my mind in that case scenario. But as far as a brother, again, when you have brothers, when you grew up, I used to have a lot of male friends growing up, especially in high school. I was like, this was a norm. That was a normal thing the way they dress, especially in school. Brothers, oh my God, young brothers in high school, they love wearing hoodies on their heads. And I think that's honestly something that should be studied, is wearing hoodies and wearing hats, because I think a part of that is them trying to hide, because they are so overanalyzed within schools specifically. I mean, in society in general, black men are overanalyzed. They're always, I mean, it's studies proving that, especially in schools. I think when they hit around 4th grade is when usually black boys their grades start to decline, is because that's when they start getting criminalized more. They start being seen as adults. They start being seen as bad little boys, or like they're going to get in some sort of trouble, and teachers look for trouble from specifically young black boys. So I think they adapt this habit of covering their heads or covering their faces from just being looked at too damn much and looked at for negative ways of negative behaviors. Okay, it's like an expectation that they're going to do something bad. And so I think that's just a coping mechanism for many brothers, especially young brothers.
I remember making a video and they said I was pandering. I said, I don't carry a gun everywhere I go because of the scary women. It's because of these crazy niggas out here. Then I told women, I think y'all should get guns. They found an issue with that. Yeah, where y'all live, bro? What reality are you in? What do you mean hoodies and ass out, pants sagging and shit? I profile them little niggas too.
Yeah, probably because you're not of us. You might have been born here, but you ain't from here, baby. Your parents ain't from here. That's why. When you get back to your house, they might be calling us cicadas and all types of shit. Stay away from them young cicadas. They are so dangerous. Don't stay. Don't walk across the street. So yeah, you might have that mentality because of that outsider's perspective. All right. But again, if you're somebody who's born in the culture, who was born around black men, who grew up with black men, as myself, those type of things are normal. You know, I got little cousins who dress like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, and these are regular young brothers. These are not hood dudes. These are not, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm like, this is a cultural thing. It's not just something where YNs, now they calling young black men YNs now, which is egregious. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you do got some young niggas out here, but all young black men are YNs, okay? So it's like, to put this label on, like, yeah, if you got a ski mask on, which I'm not in agreement. Let me say this, I'm not in agreement with these brothers wearing ski masks in 90-degree weather. It's hot as hell. Yes. Why the fuck do you got on a ski mask? It's hot. But again, we just went over some of the reasoning of why they might still do that. So it's like, yeah, that might not have anything to do with me. They're not checking for me. Of course and just to touch on this point too, of course you have a gun, because men are more threatening in general, not because young black men are more of a threat, because men generally are more of a threat than a woman. If I walk past a group of girls and a group of guys, which one do you think, if I had to choose which one to be more threatened by, which one do you think I'm going to be more threatened by? Honestly, even if me as not even a woman, a man, anybody, a child, of course you're going to be more threatened by the men, because men are physically stronger, period. Okay, physically, and men more than likely are going to be carrying some sort of weapon over a female. You know what I'm saying? That's because they are, and that is not because of females. That's because of other men. You know, men are dangerous, especially especially black men specifically, with the threat of white supremacy, the threat of race soldiers, the threat of white supremacists, the attack that they could go under, and some of the coons like you that bitch might assume. Let me not call them a coon. But some of the tethers, let me say that, some of the tethers like you that might just assume they on bullshit, they might have to stay ready. Yeah, because if you go grab it, they're going to go grab it, for real. You know what I'm saying? As far as sisters, yeah, we might need it to protect us against other men, of course, because we don't want to be overpowered. So yeah, I might have a gun on me because I'm not doing that for sisters. I might be able to whoop another sister down. We might be the same height, she might, even if we are, she could be bigger. She might not just know how to fight. She could be the type to just pull air and I whoop your ass. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different level of thinking. There's a different way of thinking when it comes to men and women. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you're going to feel more threatened by men, period. But he doesn't want to say that. You don't want to say that with white men. Wouldn't you be just as threatened if you was walking down the street and it was a group of white men walking up to you versus a group of, honestly, I don't even know if that's the same. Honestly, because white women could get your ass. You know what I'm saying? They might be the same level of, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say same, but maybe same but different ways of threat when it comes to white women, okay? But still, you know what I'm saying? A group of black women and a group of white men, who are you going to be? Like, come on now, you're a man. So of course you're going to be more on guard with other men because other men have maintained and have as much force as, or may have more force than you do, of course. So you might need a little extra, you know what I'm saying? You might need a little knife or a little taser or a little gun or something like that to overpower another man, because that's a different type of fight than two women. All right. So I don't like this sort of nonsense again, but a lot of the tethers come into our spaces and say things like that. I don't know if the first sister was a tether or not, or if she was FBA or not. But she makes a good point. You know, that is not something that we need to put on especially our young men. Again, there's too many stereotypes, too many things going against them already for us to say, you know what, yeah, just because you got on a hoodie and I think it's too hot outside, or it is too hot outside for whatever reason, you're a threat. That's not the truth. I'm sorry. I done been in plenty of hoods. I done been in plenty of neighborhoods, suburbs, and young brothers dressed like that, and ain't nothing happened to me. How you doing, sweetheart? And I keep it they keep it pushing. Like, what do we, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that way of thinking is a white supremacist way of thinking. Just saying. I just wanted to put that up. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. All right. What do y'all think of Zaya Wade and his father's conversation? Do you think Dwayne Wade is trying to live vicariously through Zion? Do you think that Zion has a skewed image of black men, and therefore that could be a big part of the reason why he doesn't want to be a black man himself? Do you think that these young brothers who put on these ski masks or put on these hoods, do you think they deserve to be profiled? I mean, let me just say this too. The fact that you're saying that, like, they deserve to be like, RIP to Trayvon Martin because he was profiled. Do you think he deserved that because he had on a fucking hoodie? Like, you got to think about, you have to be careful with your words, because when you say things like that, it justifies these actions. It's not even necessarily the profiling that's the problem. You could be prejudiced. You could think whatever the fuck you want of that person before you meet them. But as soon as the action comes behind it, the fact that you're walking up to them, you're following them around the store, you're calling the police on them because you think they did something just because of the way they dress, you know what I'm saying, you reaching for something because you think when they walk past you, they're going to do something to you, that becomes dangerous, all right, for our young black men. We don't need them sort of problems. We definitely don't want to put that image on them. But brothers, you know, y'all could take off the ski mask, though. It's hot as hell outside. I don't know. Like, take it, you know what I'm saying? At least just put it over top of your head if there ain't no cameras around and shit. Like, come on, man. It's hot. Yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Other than that, baby, that's all I got. I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace and be one. We do not play but our friends. You fuck with the team. Might find your West in the creek. We crossing our T's. We don't never miss a beat.